this is Chris. Today I'm going to take you on the self-driving guided tour of Doc Holliday, John Henry Doc Holliday. Now I'm going to tell you, I've been out west. I've been to Tombstone and some of those other towns out there. I've seen the reenactment of the OK Corral gun battle, and so I'm a little familiar with Doc Holliday. I ain't no expert on him, but out west, he's a pretty big deal. And so I've been out there and I've seen all that. As a teenager. I wish I'd taken pictures and such so that I could include them in this little self-driving tour, but I don't have them anymore. Okay, I'll let you know when I get to the first spot. Okay, I'm at number 1, which is supposed to be the Presbyterian Church at 314 North Hill Street. Well, the church ain't here. The Griffin Fire Station number 1 is, and it's located in front of Fire Station number 1. And you have to pull around and turn east on Quilley Street to get in the fire station parking lot to go look at the marker. Okay, I'm gonna head over there. Shot of the historical marker for this, and this is where the church used to be that John Henry Holliday and his mama joined. This is he was born 18 months after his sister passed, and his mama had never been part of the church. They joined up over here. View of what's around here, just so you have an idea. There is an old church building across the street, and we're looking towards downtown Griffin now. You see the train going down the tracks. Okay, now I'm going to historic marker number 2, which is supposed to be in front of his home place here on Tinsley Street. It's supposed to be after I cross 8th Street, according to the document. Continue northbound past Quilley Street and turn left onto Tinsley Street. Keep straight across 8th Street. The marker's located on the right, just before 9th Street. I believe you see the 9th Street sign. Well, there's the marker right there in front of that little brick house. They really don't have good places to park looking at these things, because I had to stop right here in front of a stop sign. Okay, I'm gonna get out and go take a look at it. Marker is on the corner of the lot this brick house is on. Of course, this wasn't his house. They said this is one of 14 houses his family owned on this street, but they thought he lived here. Here's the street view going back east towards North Hill Street. Here's a little shot around the neighborhood for you. Of course, it don't say on the sign which properties they actually owned. Okay. Pretty interesting. Even though Doc was an only child, he had an adopted brother, and 4 or 5 of his aunts and uncles was raised with him. When he was 5, they was like between the ages 10 and 14, so it was a little older than him. But they was raised with him too. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, this is the Camp Stevens sign, and this is actually one of 2 Camp Stevens parks over here. They're around the corner from each other. This talks about how Doc Holliday's father owned and sold more than 4 properties in Spalding County, and how he sold all of them to move them south during the Civil War down to Valdosta. Okay, this is sort of giving me a look around here. Sorry, my truck's blocking the view a little bit. That's why I needed to wash it. But this is right here at the entrance to the park. So it's a gravel entrance. And you got some houses right in here. This is off of East McIntosh. It's a sort of modest area. Okay, that's it. Okay, just to let you know, if you decide to do this yourself one day, and you're following the directions printed on this circular, they're wrong. It tells you to go down 9th Street till you hit Broad Street, turn right on the Broad Street, and then take a quick right onto 9th Street. If you did that, you'd be making a U-turn. I was thinking it meant to turn right on Broad Street and take a quick left on the 9th Street, which made sense. But instead, it should say turn left on the Broad Street and take a quick right on the 9th Street. So, if you follow the directions, you'll be trying to make a U-turn. Maybe if these folks see this video at some point, they'll change that next time they reprint it. But be careful, they're not always right. Here's this marker. Now, this is pretty interesting. Doc inherited this property when he was 15 years old, when his mama died. But his daddy took it over as guardianship until Doc turned of age. And in those years in between there, Doc's ownership was disputed down in Lowndes County Court, and so the jury awarded ownership to both Doc and his father, and they built a wall down between his property, his portion of the building, and his daddy's portion of the building, and supposedly Doc Holliday practiced dentistry in this building for a little bit. Then he sold the property to move out west. It's now home to the Doc Holliday Saloon. You can see it here. The front's a little distinctive. It's in probably about halfway up this group of row buildings here. You got Sinister Suites down there on the west end, and Pinnacle South here on the east end, about 3/4 of the way towards the east end. towards Hill Street. There's Hill Street down there, that red light you can see. And directly across the street is Impact Christian Ministries, community outreach center. I really like them. And I've been over here several times, and I never knew all this about this place. It's a 2-story building, and I'm glad that I finally saw a building that was left standing. Everything else had been torn down. Had a fireplace on it and a brick house on it, but now I got a real building. I got something I can touch and look at. I'm gonna touch it now. This is supposedly Doc Holliday's final resting place, and they have a question mark on the sign next to that. And here's the graves here. One is assumed to be him, and the other is assumed to be his father. Now the story is, when he died, his father went out west to get him and brought him back to bury him in his hometown. Now, I'll tell you, there's a grave out there, and I've seen it, which claims to be the burial place of Doc Holliday. But I've also read more and seen more stuff about these graves, and there appears to be some pretty good arguments that these graves, these unmarked graves, might be the burial place of Doc and his father. I'm just giving y'all some shots around the cemetery now. By the way, if you come looking for this, it's between block 11 and block 13 in the cemetery. 11's on the east and 13's on the west. You can sort of see the buildings on there, and you can see where I'm standing. But, you know, it's hard for me to imagine his father going all the way out west and bringing them back. But then again, it's plausible. And there's been a good bit of research on this subject, and the people in the know claims that these are those grave sites, the unmarked, and I'm going to accept them to be the truth. And just think about it, though, if it ain't their grave site, somebody's buried down there, and you hate for them to be forgotten. But still, this is it. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, this is the burial site of Martha Eleanora Holliday. Okay, this is Doc Holliday's older sister. She only lived to be 6 months and 1 day old. And Doc was born a couple years after her. That's her original grave marker there. And there's another grave marker behind it, donated by the Kiwanis Club in 1990. Trying to zoom in on, but I don't think you can see it yet because of the way the sun is. Okay, and here's your view of the cemetery around here. Now, to find this grave, it's a little confusing. Number one is, tells you to turn left to the entrance in the cemetery, but there's more than one entrance One's this little curving street that just circles around and comes back out in. Another one's the entrance, which is one way towards you. So it's actually the third entrance you go into. You drive down it till you get to the office, and right before you get to the office, turn left. And follow that street. And at the top of the hill, near the back of the cemetery, you'll find this grave. And this grave is not in question at all. Doc Holliday's sister burial site right now, but I gotta tell you, if I had some time, I'd spend it walking around these cemeteries. Some of these graves is very interesting, and I find people that passed away in the 1800s. You just sort of wonder if their family even knows where they're buried at now. You see a lot of old unmarked graves. So if you want to spend the afternoon learning a little something, come down here and visit these graveyards. Okay, we're headed to our last destination on this tour, and it's the old courthouse. I'll crank it up again when we get there. It's the last historical marker concerning Doc Holliday. Now, his daddy was a county clerk for the newly formed Spalding County. And this building here was actually built after he had resigned his position. Okay, but it wasn't long after. And this was a county courthouse. And of course, him and his son, since he owned a lot of real estate here, and Doc had doings with his real estate over on Solomon Street that I visited a minute ago. They had to do business in here. You know, I can sort of understand the historical marker because his father was a county clerk, but I don't know where the original courthouse was. It'd be a more appropriate place for this marker. Putting it here is like putting up a sign that says George Washington went to the bathroom here. Okay, just it was incidental to his presence. And I'll give you a shot at a view. The street was the street on the other side of the courthouse, but they closed it down and made it into a little park thing over there now. And this little spot here ain't as busy as what it used to be. Okay. I want to say that's it for the tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. I really hate that more buildings aren't still standing that influenced Doc Holliday's life. Okay, like his old home place over there, and like the Presbyterian Church. But that's just the way things are. But if you're down this way, this tour is worth going on. Even though I was a little disappointed in it in a few respects. Okay, have a great day. And